salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today is a little bit of a different video because for an entire month, I decided to read a holiday novella, and I'm going to show you all of the books that I read. So excited to be filming this video today because it is the start of a fun challenge that we're gonna do. Well, I'm gonna do. I mean, if you want to do it with me, I am posting this on the 1st of December, so maybe we can read novellas together. That'd be fun. Anyways, I thought it would be fun to read a holiday novella every single day for an entire month. You guys know I'm a big fan of novellas. I tend to get in reading slumps, so I do enjoy a shorter book, whether that is a romance or a cozy mystery. I really do feel like if you find a good novella, it can really do everything that a full-length novel is doing. I will leave my novella playlist down below if you want to see the other challenges and recommendation videos that I've done before. I'm going to be reading a lot of books in this video is basically what I'm trying to say. I'm going to try to do daily updates. Sometimes I don't film every day, so maybe every other day I'll do like a compilation of the novellas that I've read. So that's pretty much it. I am pre-filming this, so I will be doing this during the month of November so I can post it in December and have a lot of holiday recs for you guys. Reading a holiday novella every single day. It could be a romance or a cozy mystery or an audiobook, ebook, whatever, as long as it's a novella. I'm gonna try to read different authors and different genres so we have a good mix in this video. Daily updates can be a lot, and this is going to be a long video, so towards the end I will wrap up all of my favorites together. I also kind of wrap up all of the novellas I read on my Instagram, which is Books with Samantha, same as here. I think that's all the updates that I have, so I will talk to you tomorrow and we can talk about the first novella that I read. Greetings and salutations. Howdy, y'all. I wonder if I could think of different greetings every time I come in here and update you guys, but that's a lot of greetings and I don't know if I'm that creative. Ignore the laundry in the background. Ignore the laundry in the background. I finished a novella and I decided that I want to read like a wide range of novellas. So I want to read anything from like cozy mysteries to like a smutty, steamy, fun little erotica, you know? So today I read a cozy mystery. I listened to an audiobook. It was just 2 hours. My library had it and it was a really fun, quick read. The book is called Okay, I cannot pronounce this title. I've read this word plenty of times, but never have pronounced it. Grimoires, like the book that like a witch has. Grimoires and Gingerbread by Danielle Garrett. I also decided that I'm going to read as many Christmas books as possible because 'tis the season. So that's why I ended up picking this one. This one was real cute or whatever. It was a second in a series, but definitely can be read as a standalone. I didn't feel confused or anything like that. The heroine is a witch who is a little down on her luck, so she moves back to her hometown and she's working at a family bake shop. The element comes in because she ends up getting contacted kind of by like this guy that she's been flirting with. There's like a little bit of a situationship going on there. His name is Orion and he works for like the magical council and he needs her help finding a missing object. This one is really fun because it's Christmas themed and kind of surrounding like Santa, the North Pole. I don't want to give like too many spoilers on there, but like in this universe Santa is very real because magic is real. Very campy, very short. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Really was nothing wrong with this novella. I did enjoy it. For a cozy mystery, sure, pick it up, why not? The only reason I'm not giving it a higher rating is because there wasn't really much sleuthing going on. The characters kind of just like stumbled upon the answers to everything, which is a little bit of a pet peeve when it comes to cozies, but I'm not going to be like too particular because it's a 2-hour audiobook. Explaining this way too much. My reviews in the future will be more condensed because we'll have a lot of books to go through, but 3 stars. I really liked this one. That's my update. Bonjour. Greetings, my little love books. I don't know what that was. Anyways, I read 2 novellas, so I'm here to catch you up on that. The second book I read was Trick Shot by Kayla Gross, and this one I had to read because it's a poly romance. So it starts on Christmas Eve. Our hero is stuck in an airport. There is a snowstorm that is delaying his flight. Hero is a sports agent, but he has an identical twin that is a very famous hockey player, and our heroine is on the same flight as him that is getting delayed. When she sees him, she thinks that he is his twin brother, the hockey player. Kind of goes along with like the mistaken identity plot, and they have a lot of chemistry, so they end up heading back to his place where his best friend is at, and they all agree to have a one-night stand. So 2 guys, 1 girl. Very, very spicy. Some light BDSM, role play, zaddy kink, rope play. A lot is going on in this book and I really loved it. I gave it 4 stars. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is I didn't love like the mistaken identity plot. I feel like for a novella there was a little bit too much of like the miscommunication trope, which is not my favorite. I still thought it was really fun. Like I said, 4 stars, really did like it. I loved the dynamic between the 3 characters. It was very spicy and steamy, and I loved that we got different point of views of each characters as well. Next up, I read a novella by Casey Hart, who is a new author to me. I've never read a novella by her before, and this one is called My Secret Santa, My Stalker. She has like a short novella series of stalker romances, and I picked this one because Santa. I didn't like this one. I didn't. I gave it 2 stars. This book follows Ella and Ace, who meet when they're very, very young. Their parents actually used to date when they were younger, but the relationship was very toxic and did not last long, but they still remained friends after their parents broke up. Both of them have a really rough childhood, so they're constantly like leaning on each other and they become best friends. However, our hero is 7 years older, I think, something like that. There is a little bit of an age gap, so he does end up leaving her one Christmas Eve and she's really heartbroken from it. Years and years later, she is getting this like mysterious Christmas gift that she has no idea who it's from. It's from our hero. Comes back, they reconnect, yada yada yada. I didn't like it. Starters, for this to be like called like a stalker romance, like he didn't really do much stalking other than like leaving her gifts every Christmas. I just felt like the author was trying to do too much. Like I think at one point like our hero was like an assassin. I didn't really understand the plots because there wasn't enough pages to really like flesh out what the author was trying to do. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And it was also leaning very heavily into like the innocent virgin trope, which is not bad. I don't dislike, but it just felt icky in this book, you know? Not my favorite. 2 stars. Sad for me. Little update, I will see you guys when I read more novellas. I'm just gonna put you guys here. Okay, are you cozy? Are you comfy? Cute? Okay. Hi! I just got off of work and I am so excited because we finally have a 5-star read for this little novella challenge. I think I found my favorite Christmas novella like that I've ever read, and that was Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonham Young. I listened to the audiobook. It was about a 5-6 hour audiobook. This novella was perfect. Like if you could give me a perfect novella, this is it. This is it. So it's a sapphic romance, which you guys know I love sapphic romances. It's friends to lovers, it's fake dating, it has like all my favorite tropes. Our heroines have been friends since they were like 9 years old, and they've gone through different stages of their friendships where they're really close and then they grow apart and then they're always coming back to each other. One of our heroines, her fiance, just cheated on her and is throwing this like massive Christmas party with the girl that she cheated on. They decide that they're going to fake date during the holidays, and I feel like fake dating in a contemporary book is really hard to sell. It's easier to do like fake dating or arranged marriage and historicals, but I feel like the reasoning and everything behind like their little deal of fake dating made so much sense. And of course, as they're fake dating, real feelings happen. Oh, it's so cute. Like it is so freaking cute. One of our heroines, she is a lesbian and she's been openly out for many years, and she's always kind of like pined after her straight best friend, our other heroine, which I feel like is like a quintessential like queer experience, you know, like the straight best friend trope. And it turns out her best friend is not as straight as she thought. I cannot stress how this is the perfect Christmas novella. Okay, you have dual point of views and dual narrators. The audiobook was phenomenal, so if your library has it, check it out because the audiobook was perfect. I feel like the narrators did such a good job at portraying the story. The author did such a fan-fucking-tastic job of giving us a background, giving us chemistry, giving us hilarity. Like I was literally laughing so many times. I was at work listening to the audiobook and I was cracking up at my desk, and it was also very emotional. Like our characters' experience of like finding love and just like finding queer happiness. Shut the fuck up, I'll cry right now. It was perfect, and also it was so steamy and hot. Like it was hot. Can you tell how excited I am? This is probably the longest I will talk about a book in this video because I need everybody to read it. I don't even care what I read for the rest of this challenge. I am so happy I picked this one up. Hola! I am here for another update. I read a couple of novellas since I last talked to you, and they weren't that great. but I'm gonna talk about them anyways. Okay, so on Kindle Unlimited, there is like this series, I think it's called the Sugar and Spice Nights series, where a bunch of different authors wrote novellas all centered around like a specific theme, and the theme is Christmas cookies. I really like this, where there's a common theme connecting all of the books, but you can read them as standalones, and they're all from different authors, so you can discover new authors. Last year, I read The Shortbread and the Scotsman by Lana Dash, and I gave that one 4 stars. I thought it was a super cute Christmas romance. It was kind of like a second chance romance. Our heroine owns a bakery, and it was just adorable, so I wanted to read more from this series. I read 3, so we're just gonna quickly speed through them. The first one that I read was Cupcakes and the Cowboy by Scarlett Woods. I'm just gonna say it, I gave this one 2 stars. It was cringy. It really was. Like, the descriptions that our author chose to use for the sex scenes in this book was concerning. Like, the entire time he kept calling his junk a heated beast. And I don't know, it made me want to vomit. Our heroine has just graduated culinary school, and she's really struggling to find her dream job. She's struggling to find a job in the industry because everything requires for her to have experience. Ends up getting a part-time holiday position at a new bakery that's opening up. One day our hero walks in, and they knew each other since they were really young. He is her best friend's brother. Always had a crush on him, but he also works for the same company that she's working for. So like slightly forbidden, but not really. And it follows their romance. Again, the sex scenes were so cringy in this book, and also the entire book, it's like 60 pages. The entire book was miscommunication. Belong together, they didn't mesh. I wasn't feeling the vibe, so did not like that one. 2 stars. The next one I read was Fudge and the Firefighter by Sadie King. I also gave this one 2 stars. So our heroine is spending Christmas alone. One of her family members has recently passed away, and she's just not really feeling in the Christmas spirit. She decides to make fudge, hence the title, Fudge and the Firefighter. She almost ends up burning down her apartment, and her next door neighbor happens to be a sexy, hot firefighter who comes in to save her shirtless. I'm sure that's like every firefighter's fantasy, but again, the chemistry between the characters just seemed a little awkward, and it was like insta-love from page 2. I know it's a 60-page novella, and the author has to like move quickly to have the romance develop, but I mean, like, literally he's banging down her door with a fire extinguisher and also like proposing to her at the same time. It was fast. Everything was happening fast. It was cringy. It was awkward. I had secondhand embarrassment for our heroine the entire time. 2 stars. I promise I'm not even that much of a picky reader, but this was the point in the video where I was like, we just gotta scrap this. This is not going well. But I persevered, and I decided to read one more book from this little series of novellas, and it wasn't bad. This one is called Sugar Cookies and Single Dad by Bryn Hale. I gave this one 3.5, almost 4 stars. This one was actually very cute. Our hero just recently went through a divorce. His wife left him and also their daughter, so he is a single dad. His daughter is kind of playing matchmaker. She wants her dad and her school teacher to be together. She gets signed up to make Christmas cookies for her school, but her dad cannot bake. So they kind of like rope her teacher in to help them bake these sugar cookies. And there's just like this really cute connection between our 2 characters. The daughter in the book is hilarious, and yeah, it's just a fun Christmas read. So 3.5 stars. I did actually like this one. I would recommend it. And I was like so thankful at this point because we were just having a bunch of bad books. That's my little update. 2 stars, and then 1 that was like a 3.5. So yeah, we'll see what other novellas we read in my next clip. Hey, I have some updates for you guys. So as I was doing this challenge, I realized that I really wanted to find some novella audiobooks to listen to because I can listen as I'm working or listen as I'm driving. If you guys have an Audible subscription, really check out the Audible originals that are already included in your membership. Like, you don't even have to use a credit for them. So I have a couple updates. This might be broken up in like 2 parts because I read like 6 books that I need to update you guys on. The first one I read was The Upside Down Christmas by Kate Forster, and I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. Let me explain. The book actually starts on Halloween. It follows our heroine Marlo, who's going to a Christmas party, and she's supposed to have like a couple costume with her boyfriend, but when she gets there, she can't find her boyfriend, and she ends up finding out that her boyfriend cheated on her. She is kind of devastated by the breakup, especially because they were supposed to travel somewhere for the holidays together. Our heroine is a major Grinch. She does not like Christmas whatsoever, and she always goes on like a vacation during the holidays, and now all of her vacation plans are ruined because of her trash boyfriend. That is where our hero Alex comes in. He is actually her roommate, and they have been friends for many years, and he kind of like takes it upon himself to really bring the Christmas joy to her. The book was cute in theory, but I hated it. I hated it. I gave it 2 stars. Our heroine was insufferable. Insufferable. I don't know if you guys had like a friend like this in high school or college who was completely boy crazy. There's never a time where they weren't in a relationship and they were constantly choosing trash men, and anytime you tried to tell them like, hey, this man is trash, right over their head, never believed you until they got their heart broken and they wanted to be like, what happened? I didn't see any of the signs. And then just like cycle repeats. That's our heroine. She continuously chose trash men just for their looks or their money, and was just like a really awful person. Like, she was so judgmental, and our hero Alex was just like this little cinnamon roll bean who deserves so much better. Oh, and not to mention, okay, I'm just spoiling this whole novella for you. I don't care. Not to mention, our hero in this book has a girlfriend for like the majority of the book, and this is a fucking novella, and he has a girlfriend. She got cheated on and then falls for a man who has a girlfriend. Make it make sense, bestie. Honestly, I'm changing my rating. I'm giving this 1 star because she really was so trash. Kept going on, and I'm so happy I did because this next one I loved, and it was 5 stars. I loved this next one. So this one is Once Upon a Christmas Carol by Karen Shaler? I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I'm so sorry. So some Audible originals are like fully casted, fully narrated. Every character has a different narration. You also hear like background noise as well. Like if they walk into a cafe, you can hear them opening the door. You can hear the coffee being made, like all of that stuff. And it's a fully immersive experience. And I love when Audible original does this. That was this book. So in this book, our heroine is a pop star. She was really popular when she was younger because she wrote a lot of amazing Christmas songs that people loved, kind of what she's known for, but her mother recently passed away, so she's not really feeling in the Christmas spirit, and because of that, her songwriting is kind of taking a hit. Her label actually ends up dropping her, so she's feeling a bit lost, and all of a sudden, she gets a homemade Christmas card that is leading her back to her small hometown. She has not been back to her hometown since her mother died. The entire town is like a Christmas miracle. She gets to her hometown. She ends up bumping into her high school sweetheart, Matt. They end up reconnecting, and he helps her find all of the Christmas cards, and it's so cute. Also, in this one, because she's a pop star, they're singing. Like, the narrators are literally singing Christmas carols throughout the story in a way that makes total sense too. It's so cozy. Feels like you're watching a Hallmark movie. I should have started with that. It feels like you're watching a Hallmark movie. I loved it. Could not recommend it enough. One of my favorite Christmas books I've read so far this year. 5 stars. Other one that I really liked was Whisked Away at Christmas. I gave this one 4 stars. If you like the British Bake Show, then you will really like this one because it follows a baking competition called the Golden Whisk, and our 2 characters are entering into the competition for different reasons. Our heroine owns a small cafe, but she's really struggling to get exposure. She doesn't really have like the connections and the background and the money to really be well known in the baking community, so she ends up lying on her resume to get accepted to this baking competition, and she uses it as an opportunity to really prove herself. And then our hero is kind of the opposite. He is very well known within the baking community. His father is like a world-renowned chef, has a bunch of Michelin star restaurants, and he kind of lives under his father's shadow, so he's joining the competition to really make a name for himself. The funny thing is that our characters do actually know each other and have quite a complicated past. So it's an enemies to lovers romance. They're sorting out their own stuff as they're competing in this competition. It is so much fun. Again, British Bake Show vibes. Highly recommend. I gave it 4 stars. I'm really happy I stuck with it and found some good ones. So if you have an Audible subscription, I would really recommend the last 2 that I talked about. quick update for one of the Audible original novellas that I finished. This one is called Snow Day by Julie Lipson. This one is another one that is like fully narrated, full immersive experience where you can hear like the background noise and all of the different characters have a different narration. I didn't love this one as much as I thought I would. Like, I loved the production value. If I was rating it just for production value, 5 fucking stars. The actual romance and the characters, 2 stars. And follows our heroine who's getting on a train. She just came back from a vacation and she was trying to make her way home for Christmas, but there is a little bit of a snowstorm that is delaying the train. Ends up befriending the man who is in her train car. I think he's like Italian or something. And they end up becoming friends and trying to like help each other make their way back home for Christmas. Production value, I loved it. You could hear the train in the background, Christmas carols in the background. It's such like a cozy setting, but our heroine again was one of those insufferable heroines who was so judgmental. She also had a boyfriend throughout a good portion of the book who was not our hero. He was just super mean and judgmental and like mad about the fact that she missed her train because of the weather. I was like, girl, be so fucking for real right now. She was like in Europe and it was like a beautiful magical snow Christmas. Hero was so kind and like constantly taking her on adventures to like help her get into the Christmas spirit, and she was such a Debbie Downer. It was like a 2-hour audiobook and I did not want to listen to her speak at all. So 2 stars. I promise I'm not this picky usually, and there are tons of novellas that I'm loving, so I'm just gonna move on from this one. 2 stars, sadly. Ho ho ho. Merry Christmas. It's not Christmas. I just feel very festive because I'm wearing a red lip and a cute little Christmas shirt that I found for $5. Super cute. 3 novellas, so I'm going to update you. I kind of decided in the beginning of the video that this was going to be holiday themed, so I've been reading a lot of Christmas novellas, but then I realized I wanted to read different types of like holiday and winter themed books. So the next 3 I'm going to talk about are all romances that are during Hanukkah. Spoiler alert, the next 3 novellas that I'm going to talk about, I loved. They were so much fun. Okay, so I went back on Audible and searched for more Audible originals, and I found 2 by Liz Maverick, and they're both centered around Hanukkah. So the first one is called 8 Winter Nights. It has kind of an interesting, sort of messy premise. The book starts off as our heroine and her best friend going to a Hanukkah party, and she ends up getting stuck outside with a new guy at the party that she's like instantly attracted to. She really feels like she has a connection with. Kind of have this moment, but then her best friend comes to find her, and her best friend also likes the same guy. And her best friend is this really vibrant, beautiful, gorgeous woman that everyone kind of gravitates towards. So our heroine is kind of bummed that the moment is ruined. She doesn't really get to know this new guy that she just met, and from that night on, this new guy that she kind of had a crush on and her best friend end up dating. Our heroine is just like secretly pining over her best friend's boyfriend. A year later, the book picks up again and they broke up. Best friend is actually going on vacation for Hanukkah, really close friend group, so her best friend actually ends up going on vacation during the holidays and asks her to go keep her ex-boyfriend company because she doesn't want him to be alone for the holidays. And it's just a little messy because our heroine has been pining after him for so long. Being a novella, there is a lot of side characters. Like I said, they're a part of a big friend group that is a little meddlesome and funny. Although this premise sounds messy of her secretly being in love with her best friend's boyfriend, it was so freaking sweet. Really were like the right person, wrong time situation, and now it's their time and it's the holidays. Adorable. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. And the next book that I read is also by Liz Maverick, and it's kind of a part of this series because it follows another couple from the same friend group as the first book. You do have to read them in order though. It's just better that way. So this one is called Bright Winter Lights. This is a fake dating romance. Our hero and our heroine are childhood best friends, but our hero, when he was younger, his family came across a lot of money and moved to a nicer area in New York, and they just didn't keep in touch. Both of them have different reasons as to why they think the friend group didn't work. Hero has a very meddlesome mom who has been setting him up on like various blind dates, and one day he just kind of gets really annoyed and says that he has a girlfriend. His mom asks who his girlfriend is. He ends up saying the name of our heroine, who was his childhood best friend. So they end up fake dating during the holidays just to get their parents off their back. but they're also reconnecting their friendship. I gave this one 5 stars. I honestly felt like our characters were just like soulmates and they were so perfect together, and it was so sweet and wholesome and like such a perfect holiday book. Highly recommend it. One of my favorites that I read, 5 stars. Okay, so the last Hanukkah novella that I read was the remaking of Corbin Whale by Roan Parrish. This book has been on my TBR for so long. My best friend Desiree actually gifted me this book a couple years ago because it's like one of her favorite romances, and I never got around to it, but I read it and I loved it. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, I also gave this one 5 stars. This is a male-male romance, and it has some like magical realism vibes as well. It takes place during Hanukkah and the winter time. It starts off by following one of our heroes, Alex, who is really going through a lot of life changes. He loses his job, him and his boyfriend break up. So he decides that he's gonna take the opportunity to really just follow his dreams. He ends up moving back to his hometown. His mom owned a coffee shop, and he ends up taking over and turning the coffee shop into a bakery because he's a pastry chef. As he is starting up his business and settling back into his hometown, that is where he meets our other hero, Corbin Whale. Corbin is magic personified. He's a quiet, shy, artistic character that frequently comes into the coffee shop, and they really just strike this beautiful bond. It's called the remaking of Corbin Whale. A lot of people say that he is weird or bad luck, but the second that Alex meets him, he knows that he is just so magical and special, and they really understand each other, and ends up working with Alex in the bakery, and they just have the most beautiful romance ever. This book is sweepingly romantic. Like I said, it has that like magic realism vibe that makes it feel so special and cozy. I loved it. I highly recommend it. 5 stars. I cannot believe it took me so long to read this one. Those were the 3 novellas I read since I last talked to you guys. Loved all of them. That's it. I will update you guys when I read another novella. Hello, I am here to update you guys on the next novella I read. I ended up reading Mistletoe by Kimberly Lemming. This is a part of, I forget what the series is called, her Mead Mishap series. It's a short novella, and a lot of people really love this series, so that's why I picked it up. And I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't my favorite. I ended up giving it 3 stars. So our heroine works at she is a, goddamn, what is her profession? She makes weapons, steel, iron, forge. What is her profession? Oh my god, I'm so dumb. What are they called? A welder? She's a welder. She is a welder. Her and her father are. A fantasy romance, and our heroine's father ends up getting cursed by a demon, so all of the weapons that they're making are enchanted to talk. Talk they do, okay? They say some crazy stuff that nobody wants to buy them, so her family's business is suffering, so she ends up going to the demon to hopefully get him to like lift this curse off her father. When the demon sees her, he ends up kind of like striking a deal with her. He needs her to pretend to be his mate, because the only way that he can keep the land that he has is if he can like guarantee that he is mated and has the potential to have an heir. So she pretends to be his mate. They end up going to this like fancy dinner with all these different supernatural creatures, fake dating, forced proximity, yada yada yada. It was fine. It was cute. You know what? I think I have no humor. I think truly. I don't know. I typically do not like romantic comedies, and this is definitely a romantic comedy. Like, the jokes and the humor just didn't hit for me. But again, I don't like romantic comedy. I'm never the type of person who's gonna like sit there and read and like ha ha he he giggle. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not me. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It also wasn't my favorite. 3 stars. That's my little update. Just one novella to update you guys on. So I'll talk to you tomorrow when I read the next novella. Greetings and salutations. I am laying here on my bed because I am quite tired. Had a long day at work, so this is the update that you guys are gonna get, okay? What have I read? What can I update you with? Next novella that we read was Her Pretend Christmas Date by Jackie Lau. I've been pronouncing her last name correctly, but I really liked this one. I gave it 4 stars. It was a cute fake dating romance. The heroine ends up getting set up on a blind date. Her roommate actually works with our hero and thinks like they would be perfect together. So our heroine and our hero agree to go on this blind date, and it ends up going horribly. Like, it is not good. They are polar opposites. Our heroine is this very like outgoing, energetic, artistic person, and then our hero is a little bit more shy, reserved, more of an introvert. So everything about them is opposite, and they kind of mutually agree that the date is not going well. So they finish the date, part ways, never expect to see each other again. Holiday time, and our heroine is kind of tired of getting set up on blind dates. So when her mom calls to ask how the date went, she lies and says that it went wonderfully. For months, she pretends that she is dating this guy to get her parents off her back, and then her mom wants her to bring him home for Christmas. So our heroine ends up calling him and asking to see if he would fate date. Follows their romance. It's really cute. Again, I love the opposites attract. Grumpy sunshine pairing. It was a cute fake dating romance. I gave it 4 stars. Look like a drowned rat because I just got out of the shower. My room is a mess behind me because I'm packing some Christmas boxes. Also gonna do my skincare as I update you guys. So I read Spiked Hot Chocolate by Risley Adams, and I really loved it, so it probably deserves a better update than this. I gave it 5 stars. I'm a big fan of Risley Adams. I really do love her novellas. One of my favorite novellas of all time is Go Deep, which is a French lovers romance that she writes. The book starts off with our heroine getting broken up with. They're kind of just going through the motions, and they realize that they were comfortable with each other but not in love with each other, so they break up around Thanksgiving, and she decides that she's going to spend the holidays alone. And our hero is a single dad, and he was supposed to have his daughter for Christmas, but his ex-wife is having a really important event that she wants her daughter to be at. He decides to let her have that moment, and he's going to spend the holidays with his daughter later, so he also finds himself spending Christmas alone. Characters end up meeting each other because they go to a restaurant that is really full, so they end up sharing a table. They're sitting at this table together. They realize that they really enjoy each other's company, and they're both spending Christmas alone, so they decide to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day together. Again, I love Risley Adams. It was that perfect blend of being sweet and sexy, because it was sexy, but it was also super cute. I love both of our characters. I love how they were like both in this moment of like learning to love themselves, but also open to falling in love with someone else. Gorgeous, stunning, immaculate, 5 stars. Risley Adams just writes amazing novellas, so it's really no surprise that I liked this one. So that's my little update. I'm super tired, so I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hello, hi. I know this looks a little familiar because I just filmed my intro. I always forget to film intros, and we're literally more than halfway through this challenge, and I'm barely filming the intro. It is what it is. Anyways, I read another novella. I read Ho 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 by Risley Adams. I really liked the other Risley Adams Christmas book that we read. What was it called? Spiked Hot Chocolate or something like that. Loved it. So when I saw she had another Christmas book, had to read it. One is more of a shorter slice of life, steamier type of novella. So the book starts off with our heroine finding out that her husband has cheated on her, and her husband was like the first man that she's ever been with, the first man that she fell in love with, obviously the first man that she married. So she's a little bit devastated. The bartender has some fun advice for her. He's like, girl, you are young, 30, flirty, and thriving. Get out there, okay? The best way to get over someone is to get under someone, okay? So he decides to take his advice to heart, and for an entire year, she does just that, okay? She is living it up, but she's always thinking about this bartender that she met on like Christmas Eve, right? Until a year later, they bump into each other at a coffee shop, and the connection between them is strong. She ends up telling him all about her fun sexcapades, and they have some fun times together as well. It's definitely a shorter erotica. It is more on the steamier side, which is fine. I love those too. Like I said, I'm trying to read a wide variety of novellas in this video. I really did like this one. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I thought it was a fun one to read during the holidays. I think we've read some really good romances like back to back. So now I'm kind of craving like a cozy mystery. So I think that's going to be what I pick up next, and I will update you guys on that. I love you. Bye. Hello, hi, hello. We're here for another update. I think I mentioned in my last update that I was really wanting to read some cozy mystery novellas. So that's what I did. I read 3, and I'm going to update you real quick. I always say real quick, and then I end up talking and talking and talking. Okay, so the first one is Stockings and Spells by Nancy Warren. This is a part of her Vampire Knitting Club. I think this is the 4th book in the series, but you can absolutely read it as a standalone. It's about a 4-hour audiobook, so I still consider it novella length. It follows our heroine where in the first book, her grandmother passes away and leaves her knitting shop. I think they're like in Oxford or something, and our heroine does not even live in that area. She ends up moving to collect her grandmother's items and also to run this knitting shop that was left to her. The gag is, my girl does not know how to knit. Okay, she does not know how to knit, doesn't really know what she's doing, and when she gets there, she realizes that there's so much more going on. Grammy is not dead. No, she is not. She's actually a vampire. Her grandmother was murdered, and the vampires in the town saved her by turning her into a vampire. And also, on top of all that, our heroine comes from a long line of witches. Since I liked the first book so much, I was like, let me see if they have a Christmas one. They do. So, Stockings and Spells. This one, it takes place during a Christmas market, which is so freaking cozy. Heroine has this booth at a Christmas market selling a bunch of knitted items that the vampires and her make. Next to her, there is a booth that sells like different soaps, connecting with the girl who runs that small business, and they become friends. But then, one dark and dreary night, she finds this girl with one of her scarves wrapped around her neck like someone was trying to strangle her. So there's a little bit of a mystery. She needs to figure out who was trying to harm her best friend. Something sinister happening because there is a very popular author in town who is signing books at like this event for this very popular fantasy romance that he wrote. But our heroine's best friend is insistent that that man actually stole her father's manuscript. Perfect balance of like a Christmas cozy because it's happening in Christmas market. The murder mystery was also very interesting. It really could have benefited from being a full-length novel because the ending was just like rapid fire, everything kind of works out type of ending, which I didn't love. But I still give it 4 stars because I enjoyed the journey. And I decided to read another Nancy Warren. I read Gingerbread House, which is a part of her Great Witches Baking Show cozy mystery series that I have not read from. This is the 3rd book in the series. Again, I do feel like you could read it out of order because I kind of understood everything that was going on. Heroine is a witch and she's also a baker. And in this series, she basically enters into like the Great British Bake Show. I don't know if that's what they call it, but it's very similar. And she becomes a little bit of like a baking celebrity, if you will. So in this book, she is invited to participate in a gingerbread baking competition. The competition is supposed to be for charity, so when she gets there, she thinks it's going to be really chill. Turns out one of the contestants ends up murdered. Murder, darling. Murder. And I loved it. No, I didn't love the murder. That would be weird. What? I mean, I love the story. I love the coziness. I love a good baking cozy. So this one was really fun. There's also like a little bit of a side romance going on, which was fun. I liked it. I give it 3 stars. I think the only reason I didn't give it a higher rating was because it didn't really feel like the stakes were high. It didn't feel like there was a rush to find out who did it. All of like the suspects really didn't have a good reason as to why they wanted this man dead. So it was kind of just like cute and cozy, but the stakes really were not that high. All the books we read were by Nancy Warren. I didn't even realize that. So the next one is Cat's Paws and Curses, which is also part of that Vampire Knitting Club that I mentioned, and this is book 8 in the series. I didn't like this one. Yeah, the vibes were not vibing like they were in the other book. Okay, this one I gave 2 stars. This one was even shorter. It was a 2-hour audiobook. The other ones that I read were like 4-hour audiobooks. This one is kind of like a whodunit, closed door type of cozy mystery. For the holidays, our heroine decides to open up her knitting shop and create like a knitting circle where everyone can come and knit together and make gifts for their loved ones. They're having one of their annual meetings, but it's a really bad blizzard and the power goes out. The power is only out for maybe a couple of minutes, but when the lights turn back on, someone is dead. And they know like someone in the circle had to have killed them, so they're all trying to figure out who did it. It was fine, but I just feel like our heroine did nothing. Unlike cozy mysteries where we're just stumbling upon the answers, like there's no sleuthing involved, and that was exactly how this one was. And it just seemed like a little unbelievable that the power was out for like 2-3 minutes, comes back on, someone's dead, and like no one knew who did it. Like y'all are standing next to each other. You know something happened. Speak up. This is described as a shorter holiday whodunit. It is exactly that, but I think it could have been executed better, especially because I read 2 of her other cozy mysteries that I liked way better. So 2 stars. We had a 4-star, a 3-star, and a 2-star, all from the same author, which is kind of funny. That's my update. I need to head out the door. I will see you guys tomorrow for my next update. I read another novella, so I'm here to update you guys. I'm a little tired right now. It's late. I forgot to film my update and I was about to wash my makeup off, and then I realized, oh wait, I gotta tell you guys. The novella I read was On a Night Like This by Liz Maverick. So this is also part of her Winter Night series. So I read the other 2 books in this series like earlier in the video and I loved it, right? In the series it follows a group of friends and the whole time I was like, ugh, I hope everyone gets a romance, and The author like literally just came out with this novella a couple days ago, so when I saw it on Audible, snatched it up. Oh, our hero was a part of this really large friend group, but he was like hopelessly pining after one of the friends in the group that didn't feel the same way. He's a little heartbroken. He is feeling rejected. He doesn't want to make the friend group awkward. Our heroine is also going through a breakup. She was engaged and her fiance broke up with her. She decides that she wants to take a vacation and like get away. So she lives in California. She ends up staying in New York during Christmas to like spend the holidays there. Rents an apartment in New York, and that is how she meets our hero, because they are now next door neighbors. Both of them are getting over a breakup, and they kind of create a list of all of like this bucket list items they want to do to get over their exes. And it's kind of funny because the people that they were in love with previously were not right for them whatsoever, and the two of them are so perfect together. I adore these books so much. I like that it takes place during Hanukkah and has like all of those traditions that I'm personally not familiar with because I don't celebrate Hanukkah, I celebrate Christmas. So it was fun to read about that. The friend group in this whole series, and I like how each of them are getting their individual romances. There's one friend left, and I don't know if we're gonna get that one this year or next year, but I hope we get it soon. I like them a lot, so I'm really happy that I picked that one up, and I will update you guys tomorrow when I read the next novella. Oh, hi, hello, hi. I'm here for another update. We read another novella. You guys know the drill by now. So I read Monster Pucker by Cleo Evans and Ashley Bennett. This was a new release. It is a monster hockey polyamorous romance. A lot going on there, right? You guys are the monsters. We have Krampus and a Yeti. Both of them play professional hockey. It's like a hockey league specifically for monsters, and they play on the same team, and they're fated mates, but their relationship is a little bit of a secret. Our heroine is a reporter. She's a sports journalist, and she goes into the players' locker room and kind of like sneaks in there to see if she can get like an exclusive story. Gets there though, she kind of panics and doesn't want to get in trouble, and she hears people coming, so she hides in the locker room, and she sees some very interesting things happen. Okay, she sees our two characters together, realizes that they're a couple. They end up catching her. Instead of being upset, they convince her to go on a date with them because both of them have been like pining after her because they feel like she is also their fated mate. So it follows their romance. So this is a hockey romance. Like, our characters technically play professional hockey. Not a lot of hockey really happened. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. It was just fine. It wasn't my favorite. I've read some other Cleo Evans books that I have liked a lot more. I think it would be fun though if you like monster romances. I'm sure you would enjoy this. Krampus, a Yeti, and a human. Makes for a good steamy time. I'm going to change into some pajamas and read the next novella because I did end up getting a little behind on this challenge. I think I skipped like 2 days of not reading a novella because I was really busy this weekend, so we gotta catch up today. So tomorrow I'll probably have like a larger group of books to update you with. Hey guys, I'm here to update you guys on the next novella that I read. However, I would like to dial it back because my phone fell. That's what made the noise. I would like to dial it back because I forgot to mention something about the last novella I read, Monster Pucker. I gave that one 3 stars. Okay, that is a monster romance between a Yeti, Krampus, and a human. I said that, right? Guys, I couldn't take that book seriously. I still give it 3 stars because it was a fun time, but like, I cannot be expected to take that book seriously. The Yeti's name was Flurry. His name was Flurry. And he had like furry booty cheeks. Fur on his booty cheeks. I can't. There's no fucking way I was supposed to read that without laughing. Flurry with fluffy booty cheeks. Stop. Alright, so the next novella I read, like I said in the beginning of the video, I really wanted to try and read different holiday romances. I wanted to read cozy mysteries. I wanted to read romances. So I'm trying to get like a good range of novellas in this video. So I decided to pick up a fan fiction. I picked up Snowfall by Senlin Yu. This is the same author as Manacled and also the same author that writes that Omegaverse that I love. Snowfall, I saw this on TikTok. Someone recommended it, and it's just like a cute little short fan fiction, more like a slice of life. This one is a Hermione fan fiction, so Draco and Hermione. Follows their first year of being married, and between their different friend groups, they have so many different plans during the holidays. So this follows like their first Christmas together. They ended getting snowed in, and it's just a really cute, short fan fiction. It was sweet and it was steamy, and I don't feel like you have to read any other fan fiction to kind of understand what's going on. It was just good on its own. So I gave it 4 stars. I really did like this one, and I think I want to pick up more just short fan fiction reads instead of like full-length novels. Then I read one more novella because I kind of had to catch up because I skipped a couple days of reading no novellas. So I decided to listen to the audiobook for Wrapped Up in You by Talia Hibbert. This was a Kobo original, and it's been on my TBR for a while, but I don't really use Kobo, but my library had this audiobook. Like I said, this has been on my TBR for a really long time because I've read another Christmas novella by Talia Hibbert called Merry Inkmas, and I love that one. That one's adorable. So I had high expectations when it came to this one, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I don't know. It just, the vibes were not vibing. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I am as shocked as you are, my friends. I was so disappointed. I didn't like it. So this one is a friends to lovers romance. However, our hero is an actor and a model, so he moved to America for his career. I think they live like in London or something. So he moved to America for his career, and they kind of just went their separate ways. Our heroine ended up marrying someone else who was totally not right for her. They had an awful divorce. Now our hero is moving back to his hometown during Christmas time. They're both single, and our hero kind of just wants to go for it. They've been mutually pining for each other, but they never really wanted to ruin their friendship. It really does have all the tropes that I thought it would like. Friends to lovers, snowed in, Christmas cozy romance. I didn't like it. The writing style was so weird to me because it toggled between past and present, but with no real pattern to it. It wasn't like one chapter was the past, one chapter was the present. It was just random, and I couldn't tell what was past memories. And then it was honestly a very poorly produced audiobook, which I never say anything like that. I am not a picky person when it comes to audiobooks, especially because I listen to them on 2x speed, but this one was genuinely awful. This book is dual point of views, our hero and our heroine, so it had dual narrators, and it is literally like they filmed, I'm sure they did, it was like they filmed in 2 completely separate areas, because the hero, whenever he would talk, it would be so loud that I had to turn down my phone, and then when the heroine talked, it was so low, like I couldn't hear her at all. It was a bad audiobook, which on its own is not the reason that I'm giving it 2 stars. I also just didn't like the story. This entire book, for it being a novella, the entire book was miscommunication. The entire book. They constantly assumed the worst of each other, and it was just miscommunication. The whole book. Miscommunication. I don't know. It was weird. I was shocked. I was shooketh because I love Talia Hibbert, and I did not like this novella. So 2 stars. I'm devastated. If you want a really good Christmas novella that Talia Hibbert wrote, I would highly recommend Merry Inkmas. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So I will update you guys tomorrow on the next novella that I read. Hi, hello. I'm in my Christmas pajamas because we're about to go take our family Christmas photos, and we always take pictures in matching Christmas pajamas. So that's why I'm wearing this. Anyways, I just finished, oh my gosh, my outfit kind of matches the book that I read. I read The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. This novella has been on my TBR for a while, and I listened to the audiobook because my library had the audiobook. It's about like a 5-6 hour audiobook, so I'm considering it novella length. Hero and our heroine work at a bookshop. They are both managers of this bookshop, and they're pretty much like the exact opposites. So it's a grumpy sunshine trope. Small bookstore that they work at is really struggling in sales and is going to be needing to make some cuts after the holidays. Neither of them want to lose their jobs, so they end up making a little competition that whoever can sell the most books during the holiday time gets to keep their job. Like I said, this is a little bit of an enemies to lovers vibe because they are complete opposites, and they've spent like the whole year working together just bickering, but now for the holiday season they're kind of coming together to make sure that the bookstore that they love doesn't close. I wouldn't say this is true enemies to lovers. It was more just like miscommunication between our 2 characters and realizing that they actually do have a lot more in common. This one is also pretty diverse. Our heroine is both demisexual and autistic, and then our hero has diabetes in this book too. I thought this book was incredibly romantic. It's kind of like a book lover's dream, if you will. So many references to very classic books like Jane Austen and historical romances. You could tell like this was meant for book lovers. It was also talking about like the character's favorite romance tropes. So it was very cute in that aspect. I loved the little bookish theme. It was very cozy. I gave it 4 stars. I liked the audiobook. I liked the writing style. I liked the romance. I liked both of our characters individually. This is a good one, but no surprise because I've heard nothing but good things about this novella, and I know a lot of my friends love Chloe Leese, and I've actually never read any of her books, so maybe I need to do that. I really liked this one, and we're kind of nearing the end of the video. There's only 3 or 4 days left in the month, and I guess I'll see you when I finish those. Hello, beautiful people. I would like to say, if you have made it this far in the video, we're best friends. You and I are best friends, besties for the resties, okay? Because I know I haven't even started to edit this, and I know I am foreseeing into the future that this is going to be a long video. Originally, this started as me reading novellas for a week, and then it turned into a month, and then it turned into reading holiday novellas for a whole month. So it's developed, and I'm glad we're here. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you. I love you. So if you have stayed this long, I never do this, but put Christmas trees to let me know that we're besties. Just put a bunch of Christmas trees and we'll know that you and I are besties. Okay, I have 3 novellas to update you guys with, which is crazy because we're almost done with the challenge. One of my favorite novella authors is Casey Mint. I just love her novellas. She gives me Jessica Kane vibes, but just like a little bit sweeter. And as we know, Jessica Kane sadly does not write novellas anymore. The thing that Casey Mint does is she will pick like one specific theme and write a bunch of novellas around that. So if you really like a trope, you'll have like a bunch of novellas to binge, but you can still read them as standalones. And I had forgotten that she had a Christmas one. She has a series of mafia Christmas romances that are all connected, but you can read them as standalones. Last year, I read the first one in that series. I forget what it's called. Mistletoe Mobster. The one I read for this video is called Silent Night. By the way, this is called her Very Merry Mob series. I love that. Our heroine is the sister of a mafia boss. What is their a mafioso? What is their title? Mob boss. Leader. Guy in charge. Wow, my brain really is struggling. She is the sister of a mafia boss. Our hero is best friends with her brother. He also works for the mafia. He is their doctor. Our heroine has always been pining after him, and they shared like an almost kiss one time, but their romance is pretty forbidden because he is best friends with her brother. There's also an age gap between them. Well, fast forward to this Christmas, there is pretty much a hit on all of them from one of like their rivals. The 2 of them go to a safe house and spending time together over the holidays. A little bit of a forced proximity situation, and it turns out they've been like mutually pining after each other, so it follows the romance. Like this one, our heroine was just so independent and funny and sassy. Like I really liked her. Our hero was like this sexy, stoic, nerdy hero. I loved them together. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Casey Mint novellas are always a fun time. I feel like I could just sit down and read them all in one sitting. They just go by so quickly. Next one that I read was Holly and the Henchman. This one is a romance between our hero, who is the enforcer for the mafia. The series follows 4 different guys that all grew up together and now they're in the mafia together. So this hero, he is an enforcer, and our heroine is a maid, but she's secretly a spy. Scandalous. So she works for like one of their competitors, and she was hired to be a spy for the mafia, but she doesn't really want to be a spy. She's being blackmailed. It's lots of chisme. He can't help but be drawn to her, but she's a spy. Scandalous. I also really liked this one. I gave it 3 stars. The only reason I gave this one 3 stars and not like a higher rating is this one was very heavy on the insta lust, which is fine because it's a novella. You don't get too much time with the characters. Like things have to happen quickly. But I don't know. This one just, it didn't feel fleshed out. I didn't really know much about our characters, and I really liked the last one. So this one was good though. 3 stars. And then the last one I read was Kingpin All the Way, which is the last book in the series, and this one is a romance between our hero, who is the mob boss of the mafia, and then our heroine, who is a politician's daughter, and that politician is kind of like a rival of the mafia. He's been like messing with them, messing with their shipments. Oh, and remember I said like in the previous books that they all had like hits on them? Yeah. Her father placed those hits. So in retaliation, the mob boss kidnaps the politician's daughter to like use her as ransom. but they fall in love. I love a captive captor romance. You guys know Stolen Heir? That's one of my that's my favorite romance ever, and that's like a captive captor romance. Our hero kidnaps our heroine, tries to use her for ransom, but they fall in love. Beauty and the Beast retelling. This one kind of hit all of those things. Oh, and Stolen Heir is also a mafia romance. So if you like Stolen Heir, you'll like this one. Gave this one 5 stars. It was the best in the series. Okay, so far we've read 29 novellas. So tomorrow is our last day. So I will update you guys on the last novella that we read. I'm excited. It's the last day. It's the last day, my friends. What a challenge this has been. We read, I'm counting this as we because we're in this journey together. We read 30 novellas in the month of November. They were all holiday themed. I'm here to update you guys on the last novella that I read, and then at the very end I will do the stats on like my favorite ones that I read, my least favorites, just like fun stats. So we'll do that in a second, but let's talk about the last novella that I read. And we ended it on a high note. Thank God. I read The Naughty, the Nice, and the Nanny by Willa Nash. This was available on Audible, so I listened to the audiobook. I loved it. It was so freaking cute. The first in like a set of Christmas novellas that she has, and I'm totally gonna read the next 2 because I absolutely loved this one. Her heroine is a nanny, and she ends up getting a job for a single dad who is absolutely desperate during the holidays. He has to work and he needs someone to help watch his daughter. She gets there, she realizes that the single dad is actually someone that she went to high school with and had a massive crush on. The single dad, and he recently went through a really bad divorce, and his daughter is not handling it well. She is like burning through nannies really quickly. Nobody is really able to connect with his daughter until our heroine. I loved our heroine. She was so sweet. She was so kind, but also very sassy and independent. And I don't usually read single parent romances, but this one was adorable. Like, the bond that she had with the daughter was so sweet. For it being a novella, I mean, it was a little bit of a lengthier novella. I think this was a 5-hour audiobook. It felt like a full-length novel. Backstory, you got the character development, you got really interesting side characters that make me want to read the next couple of books. The character's emotional connection, there was a little bit of steam. You had the relationship with like the dad and the daughter, but also with our heroine and the daughter. It was dual narrated, so 2 different point of views. Like, it just had everything. It felt like a full, complete novella, which is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm gonna take a second so I can create the little Instagram graphics that I'm gonna post so that you guys can see like a condensed version of everything that I read. Sorry, I have the hiccups. And I will be right back for the stats to talk about like my favorites, my least favorites, and all of my ratings. So 1 second. All right, it took me a second. It was no time for you, but I'm back with my stats, okay? I'm here, very professional. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we read a total of 30 books. As far as authors, we read 23 different authors, and 16 out of those 23 authors were new to me. So I read 16 new authors and found, honestly, some favorites that I definitely plan on reading more of. Read 4 cozy mysteries and the rest were romances. I think in the future I definitely do want to try more cozy mystery like novella authors, so I'm gonna have to like add that to my list. We had 1 1-star, 6 2-stars, which is a lot, honestly. Sad. 7 3-stars, 9 4-stars, which makes me really happy, and then 7 5-stars. The majority of the books that we read in this video I really did like. There were only 7 that I gave 1 or 2 stars respectively. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I picked some good novellas for this video. And now I'm going to quickly talk about my least favorites and then my top favorites that I would highly recommend for you to read. I'm not going to go over the plots because I've already done that. So obviously my least favorite was the 1-star that we read. It was The Upside Down Christmas by Kate Forster. I hated this. I would not recommend it to a single soul. Our heroine was insufferable. I hated it. Next one I was kind of disappointed in was Wrapped Up in You. I'm sad that I gave that one 2 stars. Honestly, that one wasn't as terrible as the one that we gave a 1-star to, but I think that one was the most disappointing because I had such high expectations because I've read other books that I really loved by that author. So that was sad. Okay, and then my absolute favorites, which I mean, we had a couple. We had 7 5-stars, so all the 5 stars that we had, I would recommend. But the ones that like really stood out to me, I think were like the best of the best, was Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bottom Young. That one was a sapphic friends to lovers romance, fake dating. This one just embodies everything that I'm looking for in a novella. I think it was the perfect novella, perfect holiday romance. there was nothing wrong with it. I could not recommend it highly enough, and I definitely plan to read more Hannah Bottom Young books in the future. The next one I love and highly recommend is the remaking of Corbin Whale. That one was the male romance that was set during Hanukkah, and this one also had like that magical realism vibe. I love how I said I wasn't going to describe the plot, and yet here I am. That one was so special. I don't think I've ever read another book like it. Our characters' bond was so beautiful, and the way it felt fantastical and felt magical, even though it was set in a contemporary setting. Like, it was just perfect. The writing was beautiful. It was lyrical. It became my favorite and is leaps above the rest because I think it can stand on its own outside of the holidays. Like, it's not just a holiday romance. It felt like so much more than that, and it was just like this beautiful connection between our characters. Plus, the audiobook was fantastic, so highly recommend. And then I had really good luck with the Audible originals. I thoroughly enjoyed them. The production value alone is amazing. The narrators, I love when it's a fully casted audiobook too, and because it's done by Audible, it's done so well. A couple ones that I liked was Once Upon a Christmas Carol. This one was a fully narrated book. It felt like a full experience because you could even hear like the background noise and the Christmas carols, and they were singing. Like, it was perfect. It was so perfect. And this one just felt cozy, like a Hallmark movie. Really liked Bright Winter Lights by Liz Maverick. I read 3 books by Liz Maverick, and it was like all in that same Hanukkah series. Loved every single one of them. I think this one was my favorite. It was the fake dating one. Oh my god, I forgot to mention earlier in the video, this one's narrated by Teddy Hamilton, but his real name, Andrew, what's his name? Andrew Iden. He also narrates under the name Andrew Iden, and he narrated this book. My favorite narrator ever, so it made the whole experience even better. The narration, the story, the writing, I loved it. And these ones didn't really even have steam. It was more focused on just like the emotional connection and the friend group, and I loved it. Okay, I absolutely loved it. I don't need all of my novellas to be steamy and smutty, and this kind of proves that. So, but I do love a steamy, smutty novella, don't get me wrong. This challenge done, we read a novella every single day for an entire month and had an absolute blast. I just love novellas. Never did this challenge really feel like a chore. I think there were times where I was tired or bummed because I was reading like 2-star books, but it was still fun to do. It was fun to update you guys with. I loved discovering new authors, new novellas. I kind of want to do this challenge again. Should we do it again? Maybe not in the month of December, but maybe in the month of January. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Valentine's Day novellas for a whole month? Are there that many? Do you think I could find 30 different Valentine's Day novellas? I'm sure gonna try. Okay, hold me to it. Hold me to it, bestie. It's kind of funny that we're finishing this challenge only to embark on a whole other challenge. That's Vlogmas. Today is November 30th. Tomorrow's December 1st because that is how time works. And we're starting Vlogmas. Oh my gosh, I love doing Vlogmas, but it's a lot of work. So we're switching one challenge for another. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's Vlogmas video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!